It's that time again for the old Digiman to tell you about cards back in his day. So today we're going to talk about the Digimon CCG, and I'm not talking about the one that's alive and doing well right now, but the one that was released way back in 2004. Now, if you've watched my other videos, you know that 20 years ago, Digimon was insanely popular. And Bandai, the company that makes these cards, wanted to capitalize on this popularity. So they made a card game called DigiBattle. Now, for various reasons, this card game died within 2 years. And so Bandai scrapped that and they're like, let's try something new, and made the Digimon Detector card game. Well, that one didn't last very long either. And so now the year is 2004, Bandai is learning from their mistakes, and they're going to try something different. Now with this card game, Bandai did play testing, and they're going to try and get these cards into not just like Walmarts and Shopkos and things like that, but they wanted these in gaming stores, right? Hobby stores. So this way people could go and play the game with their friends. They could go and trade the cards. They could do more than just collect them. They wanted people to be invested in these cards and grow the Digimon culture. Now I've played this game. I didn't think it was that bad. But this CCG still didn't last very long. And I can't be sure, but I honestly think it was just bad timing. This was about a year after Digimon Frontier had aired, and that was the 4th season of Digimon. And the 4th season just wasn't as well received as the first 3 seasons. And so at this point, 2004, Digimon's popularity is already waning. And so I think this was just too little too late. But they still managed to squeak off 4 sets, 3 starter decks, and like 5 promos. So let's take a look, shall we? So as Bandai went into this new card game, they started trying to do things a little bit differently. First of all, they numbered cards based on the type. So for example, if you had a Digidestined card, as you see here, it has DD and then the card number, DD for Digidestined. For a Digimon, it would be DM, then the number. For a Digivice, it would be DV and then the number. And then for a power option card, it would be MD, followed by the number. Now, another thing Bandai did differently is this time they tried to actually put the card rarity on the card, so you knew what you were getting. So if you check by my thumb there, it has a C. And a C is for common, a U is for uncommon, and an R is for rare. And they also had special inserts that we'll talk about as we go along. Now, this first set was called Eternal Courage, and it was a pretty big set. There's almost 170 cards. And there were first edition and non-first edition cards for this first set. And actually, which is kind of rare in Digimon, the first edition cards are harder to get than the non-first edition cards. Hasn't affected value as of yet, but the first edition Eternal Courage cards are harder to get. Now in this first set, they also released 2 starter decks along with it. And you could get a lot of the cards in the booster pack in the starter deck, and vice versa. So one starter deck had Guilmon on the front, and the goal was to get to Gallantmon in order to win, because it's stronger, right? And then in the other deck, it had Greymon on the front, and ironically, the goal was to get to Metal Garurumon. So like I said, a lot of the set you could get in the starter deck as well as the booster packs, but there were some cards only exclusive to booster packs as well. Now, instead of doing their classic, let's make a holographic card of every single Digimon in the set, Bandai decided to switch it up. They went back to their very origin, where they would do holographics 1 out of 3 packs, and there's only a special holographic card. There's no base version of this XVmon or of most of the holographics, or of all the holographics, in that first CCG set. And so holographic cards were 1 out of 3, and of course, they went back to their bread and butter, the gold stamp cards that we know and love. And so these were brought back. So you see Mega Gargomon here, it's all in gold. You have a little G down there to let you know what it is. And these were 1 out of 7 packs. But then Bandai added a new rarity. They're trying to spice things up a little bit. And so they brought along something they called super rares. And these were holographic and gold text, as you can see. And I think they look fantastic. And you have a little S at the bottom to let you know what you have. And these were 1 out of 11 packs and were the most sought after ones in the first booster set. Now the set is pretty large. There's almost 170 cards in this first set. But it has some really cool pictures. Actually, I think the CCG looks the best out of all the Digimon cards. That's just my opinion. I really do. I like the way they look. This set you could get in booster boxes of 24 packs, I believe it was, or blister boxes, which is like where the pack is all wrapped in like cardboard that you can hang up on a little like a little pole at like Walmart. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, you could do these sorts of things. And so they had the blister packs that were like 12, I think it was 12 packs, and they'd be shrink wrapped all together. So that's the first set. And as we move on, notice that there's going to be some small like printing mistakes or maybe inconsistencies. So if you look at the I there, it's not capitalized. Everything else is capitalized. And it's not consistent. Sometimes there will be capitalized I's on other cards, and you'll see those types of small, I don't want to say they're errors, but inconsistencies throughout the sets. So just notice that. Now as we get to Hybrid Warriors, which is the next set, you know, a lot of Bandai's old habits return. So the set is a lot smaller now, and they started making holographic versions of every single Digimon again. As always, I put my holographics in the back so we can ooh and ah at them together when all the shininess hits us. But yeah, so for Hybrid Warriors, they do have a holographic version of every Digimon, and they changed it. So now it's not 1 out of every 3 packs, but it's 1 out of every pack. Now today, that doesn't mean that these holographics are easy to collect, but it's maybe a little easier than Detector or Digibattle. This set also had first edition cards and non-first edition cards, but it's kind of funny, it flipped. In my experience, the non-first edition cards are way harder to find than the first edition cards. But like I said, it doesn't affect the value at this point. And a lot of the first edition stamps, they can, I don't know, they're really hard to see anyway. They also Bandai did away with their super rare cards, and they just went to their gold text, becoming the chase cards of the set. But they changed the rarity from 1 out of 7 to 1 out of 11, so they're a little bit harder to get. In the second set, they focused on those hybrid Digimon found in Season 4 of Digimon Frontier. And once again, you could get these in a booster box of 24 packs or a blister box of 12 packs. Now we move on to the third set, and starting kind of down here. And this third set is called Generations, and I don't know why it is so hard to find. No idea why. The base cards are hard to get, the holographics are really hard to get, and the gold text cards are pretty much impossible to find. And like I said, I don't know why, because the holographics were the same odds. There's still 1 out of every pack. The gold text cards were the same odds, 1 out of 11 packs. And it's not like the packs were super expensive or anything like this. So here's a wrapper of an old one. And this is going to hurt all you collectors out there. I see this and I'm like, why didn't I buy all of them? 99 cents. They could not get rid of these things. And yet today, almost impossible to find. These gold text from this set, hardest booster card to find out of this CCG by far. And as you can see, I'm actually still missing one. The Fanglongmon DM179. It is the only CCG card, including the holographic parallels. It's the only one I cannot find. Oh, Fanglongmon. I pretend that you're already mine, that my heart ain't breaking every time I look at those for your lines. Okay, enough of that. But seriously, if you do have one, please let me know. I will pay well, I'll trade well, just let me know. But anyway, there's 9 gold text cards, I think. I'll make sure. Double check. Yeah, 9 gold text cards. 1 out of 11 packs. You got some awesome ones like Beelzemon, Susanomon. And I actually want to show you this one because they look awesome. So this one I call Heartburn Lucemon. Just because he's breathing flames, but it's Lucemon Shadow Lord mode. Hopefully you can see that. But I mean, just look at the artwork. It's fantastic. Now with this set, they only made first edition versions. So don't look for non-first edition versions. As far as I know, they don't exist. If you know differently, please let me know. And they also did away with the booster boxes, again, as far as I know. And they just did blister boxes of 12 packs each. But anyway, incredibly difficult set to complete. And that brings us to the third starter deck. They called it the Royal Knights starter deck. And this one was, once again, just a fantastic creation of cards because you have all the Digimon, most of them are in action poses. They're just a ton of fan favorites. And in this one, they threw us a bone. Bandai's like, you know what? We're going to give you, I'm counting again to make sure I'm right here, 7 gold text cards. So you get Magnamon. And they're all like the Royal Knights. They have this little Royal Knight stamp here. It's really awesome. You get Gallantmon, Omnimon, it's really cool. And so it was a great, to me, it was a great use of money, right? You pay like $15 for a starter deck and you get all these cool cards. Totally worth it. So that was that starter deck. It also has, the War Greymon X Antibody and the Metal Grumon X Antibody that people like so much. And so that brings us to the 4th and final booster set. It's called Operation X. And Operation X, well, it's kind of a lot of machine-looking type Digimon. And they changed it up just a little bit again. So you still have holographics, 1 out of 1 pack of every single Digimon, but they changed their rares to look different. So now the rare cards, the ones that are usually 1 per every pack, they make gold text. See, it's just a normal rare. You see the R down there, but they're gold text. So that's something to be aware of too, that these aren't, I'm not saying they aren't rare, but they're not as hard to find as like those chase gold text cards. And then for their chases in this set, they once again made them holographic and gold text. And they changed the rarity just a little bit. Instead of 1 out of 11, now it's 1 out of 12. So these are a little bit harder to get. Now, maybe you're wondering which sets are the hardest to find. And, well, obviously Generations is first. After that, it's up for debate. Right now, it's harder to find packs for Eternal Courage, but in my mind, Eternal Courage is more popular. I think Operation X is a little bit rarer. It's harder to complete the set than it is for Eternal Courage or Hybrid Warriors. But that's, once again, just my opinion. I don't have any, print numbers out, but just kind of my years of experience. It's the way it seems to be. But I do want to show you this card again. Oh man, like I said, the cards look cool. Sorry if I'm nerding out on everybody here, but so this is the Imperial Dramon Paladin mode, and so this is from Operation X, and just to me the sweetest cards you can get in that set. Oh, one more thing I should show you. There's only first edition cards in this as well, but they moved it. Usually the first edition stamp is here. On these cards, they moved it down here. Only blister boxes for this one as far as I'm aware as well. So that's that set. We're moving on. Remember, if you got questions, just contact me at my website, prodigiouscollecting.com, or look me up on Instagram at prodigious_omnimon, and I'm happy to talk about it. If you got info, man, I love learning about this stuff. So if you know more than I do, hit me up. I'd love to see it. So this brings us then to the 5 promo cards. That's right, they only made 5. You'd think it'd be easy to get all 5. Not so much. So 3 of these are a little bit easier to find. 2 of them are very difficult. The first one is Goldramon, and this one is one of those very difficult to find ones. Not a lot of information on how these were distributed. My thoughts are, and I've had one person think the same way, who knows about these cards, that they were distributed to game shops to promote the new game. Now, why there aren't so many out there, I don't know if people threw them away. They're like, I don't know what this is, or I don't care. But they seem to be extremely hard to get. So that Goldramon, and they changed the numbers, so you know it's a promo. Instead of DM, it's DMP, Digimon Promo. So there's that one. I'll put it aside for now. And then that brings us to the second promo. And this one is exclusive for Digimon World 4. So this you could actually get in the video game. So sometimes you'll see people selling these that don't have any other Digimon cards just because they bought the video game. So yeah, you'll still see this one around every once in a while. None of these promos are super easy to get anymore. But like I said, there's only 2 of these that are really, really hard to get. So here's the third one, Malomyotismon. Once again, not quite sure where it came from, but it does seem to be like it was some sort of toy promo or something like that, because you'll see people who have these that never went to any sort of convention or gaming store. So it's likely that this was in some way that you could get at like Walmart or Send In or something like that. And it's the same with this Chaos Gallantmon, which is the only one that is not holographic. And often these come in bunches, so you'll see like 4 at once. This is probably the easiest one to get, in my opinion. But there's a 4th one, Chaos Gallantmon. And that brings us to the last one, Omnimon. Now, supposedly this is one of the rarest one. This may be the rarest one. This one, they didn't even know. Some people didn't even know it existed for a long time. So this was actually my first CCG card. I saw it and bought it, not knowing what it was. I'm glad I did. Doesn't have a rarity sign, and something really funny. There's a story about this. I know the guy who was privileged to see these cards before they went to print. And so for this promo, he was walking along and they showed him this promo and he's like, it's like, this is awesome. And it's the day before they're printing and he noticed something. He's like, oh no, guys, did you notice that these have the stats of Magnamon? And it had the stats of Magnamon and it had the text for Magnamon. And they're like, oh no. And they switched it really quick so that it would print out okay. But like I said, just to kind of let you know, that's why some of these, it wasn't maybe the most organized for all of it. And they almost printed Omnimon with the Magnamon stats. Another thing to notice is if you have one of these, I don't know if you can see that, but it's almost like some sort of Digimon Digital Monsters logo was printed backwards on some of these. Some of them is clear. Some of them you'll see it on this side. Some of them you'll see it all the way across. But if you ever find one, that's just something to look and see what yours looks like. It's interesting in my mind. All right, so those are the 5 promos. Like I said, the hardest ones are Goldramon and Omnimon. And then we get to the holographic parallels. So like I said, no Eternal Courage because they did those separately, but Hybrid Warriors through Operation X, not the starter decks either, but Hybrid Warriors through Operation X, they did a holographic version of every single Digimon card. So here it is. Maybe it doesn't show up well in this light. I don't know. But if you're at home and you're watching, this is a time where you go, ooh, make me feel good about myself, right? All right, so there they are. Hybrid Warriors past the Omnimon. We're now into Generations. Not worth a ton, but they are hard to find for these hollows. And then we move on to Operation X, starting right there. Ooh, soak it all in. So, and that's where we pretty much end. These are just 4 cards I keep for memories and to show you. There's actually 2 more things I need to show you so that you know. Like I said, there's a lot of printing inconsistencies. And so for this one, let's see if I can find the normal one, MD19. So I can go all the way back. So for this card here, the shield, for some reason, they printed it darker. sometimes. And I haven't seen this with any of the other cards, but for this one alone, I've got to be looking at it right now. You guys can probably see it. What am I looking at? MD19. There it is, right at the bottom there. Okay. So you'll find different versions, colors of this. You see the one on the right is a lot darker. Why is it? I don't know. And it seems to only be for this card. And one more thing that I've noticed is there are some copies out there that look like this of Makuramon. So with the white border instead of it just being plain like the rest. I don't think this is a fake. It's hard to tell. I wonder if it was just like a printed demo card or something like that. But once again, just so you're aware, it's out there. If it is a fake, let me know. Like I said, I can't tell the difference. But maybe you know more than I do, so let me know. So that's Digimon CCG. There it is. I think that's, like I said, all of them but Fang Longmon. As always, you got any questions, let me know. Until then, I'll see you later. Happy collecting, guys. And like I said, let me know if you have any questions. I'm here to help. I don't want you to get the wool pulled over your eyes by some of the people selling out there. So feel free to ask questions. And like I said, I hope your collecting goes well. Collect what you love, because then you're always going to be happy with it, whether it's worth something or not. Hey, I'll see you next time. Bye.